You can do it. You got this. Just smooth, concise, and speak to as if you're speaking to your son. What's up, you 48 beautiful bastards that subscribe to this channel and keep coming back for more of my infinite lack of wisdom? I'm Papa Disaster, one half of the disasters. She'll be here Sunday. Gotta love the Jew. So, I took a brief hiatus so that I could take care of some personal things in my life, and I did not look at any social media, nor YouTube, nothing, for a week. Boy, that'll let your brain rot as soon as you turn back on the dummy box and mini dummy box and get yourself all caught up to the world events. One of them is that Russia invaded the Ukraine. Holy shit. Now see, that would be a term that I couldn't use unless I'm trying to make a point, because they would actually be terrorists, I think. We're so confused right now, it's not even funny. The dummy box 24/7, 365, spewing stupidity to the world. And a lot of you, fuck, man, you're just soaking it up, hook, line, and sinker. Big bites, big bites. Now, if we go backwards, the reason Putin gave a history lesson is because he's pointing out some things that are true. It's an amazing thing that we are in a country with leadership that at will go into any country they want and spread their democracy, as long as they get paid for it. This whole thing with Russia ties to one thing. Now listen closely. I've been telling you this and trying to get you to hear me for some time. The sun affects us humans in a way that we're not aware of totally yet, because the information is just not there. There is some information in random spots that we can gather individually and pull together and make a conclusion. That's where that critical thinking comes in, which the Americans really have lost. We've lost it. Not all of you, so if you got your panties all up in a bunch, unbunch them and try to follow along. I get a little convoluted sometimes. I don't know what to say anymore. And for those of you that say don't say nothing, it's kind of how we got into this mess, isn't it? By not saying anything, being too preoccupied with our keeping up with the Joneses, making our debt larger than our income so that we can feel like a Jones. It's hard to keep up with them, especially in today's day and age. The only Joneses you're trying to keep up with are wearing red and blue. Now, why red and blue? Because red and blue is a division of purple. What is purple? Purple is the hierarchy, the monarchy, royalty, if you will, blue bloods. And then they divided to blue and red to give you and I the sense that we have a choice. Now, use that critical thinking. Does it seem like you have a choice if they keep giving you two shitty choices? Doesn't seem like a choice to me. And through the propaganda of television and cell phones and things like Facebook, which we all make excuses for, including myself, we're Americans. If we can't point the finger and blame someone else, it's un-American. And boy, we do not take responsibility for our own actions. We just point that finger of blame. Now, whether you blame weapons of mass destruction, or you blame the homeless for losing their homes, or you just blame anything you can on something else because it's been programmed into you to do so. What was that? That Oreo isn't the reason? Okay. What was that? You earned your diabetes. I see. You earned your diabetes. It's not one of the fake ones that you're born with. These are the things I'm talking about. We're not going to get out of this for any sensible reason that we could come up with, which is protest against a tyrannical government. Because now you're not allowed to do that. As far as the UK goes and Canada, they signed into law that if you protest against the government, you can have your assets seized and face imprisonment. And if you convince others to protest with you while you're single, one person protesting, you can now receive more charges for convincing someone else to stand up against the government. Makes this a little tricky to talk about. Actually, it makes it a fucking lot tricky to talk about. Now, I took a break and I didn't look at any social media whatsoever. Left my phone on red. I think that's right. But then after I caught up, mind blown, chaos erupting. You got truckers in Canada going home, basically with tails between their legs. Sue me. But they made it a law that you cannot protest in Canada against your government. In the United Kingdom, they made it a law that you cannot protest against your government. Now, those same individuals that signed those laws into place stood in front of a camera and spewed this stupidity. Now stand for the Ukrainian people. Support their protest of this outrageous war. Stand for the Russian people and protest against their ridiculous leader, tyrannical tyrant, oligarch pushing his way, taking what he wants without any consequences. Stand and protest against another country, but not your own. Not your own. How in the hell is this happening? And don't worry, those truckers are making their way. They're making their way. I haven't caught up yet on that. I don't know exactly where they're at or exactly what they're doing. But you don't need to. You don't need to. I barely caught a glimpse of the issues in England in November about the trucker problems they were having. The supply chain issues. They started using the keywords, the rhetoric. It's just like with Trump, Putin. No blame when you give it all to some one individual. You don't have to share it. You can just keep repeating what you're told to repeat without any critical thinking involved. They've dumbed it down just for us so that we can keep getting into these chaotic messes, and they keep coming out ahead. Those that have the golden ticket are sure as hell not going to tell you. Every newscaster, every one of them, has millions and millions of dollars. Now, I get it. It's the American capitalist dream to be out there scavenging off of those that can't afford to do anything other than work their ass off and give their money away so that they can avoid fines and prosecution. But don't you dare stand up and argue about your wages. Argue about your freedom, your right to speak. This is just a trickle-down tyranny. I'd say that you're all going to be in shock when you find out that those laws that they signed in Canada, in the UK, to prevent you from protesting against their oppression, already signed here. Doesn't matter what that last chucklehead in charge said. Doesn't matter what this current chucklehead in charge says. They're all in bed together, working together to prevent you and I from flipping out and being chaotic as we try to scramble to do what they've already done with all the money they've already taken from us. Protect themselves when the sun pops off. Books. I'd say you need books before you do guns. That's why they went and burn them all. When you burn all the books, you can write the history the way you want. We are now at a time where the magnetic poles of this planet have bumped up from moving 50 kilometers in a century to 50 kilometers in a decade to just 5.5 kilometers a month. They stopped telling us about it in 2017. Now there's some independent astronomers that are putting numbers together and showing us that this thing's moving at 5.5 kilometers a month, straight towards Siberia, a spot in Siberia. You have the South Atlantic anomaly that is a part of this flip, of this drift that's taking place with the poles. These magnetic poles are moving. Russia's actions, no, it ties it together for me. Whatever's going on over there, whatever we did through 97 and on, poking that bear, trying to tear down a government and put our own people in place, the proof's there. I am not condoning anything that the Russian leader is doing with his military right now. I am not saying that the Ukrainian people have done anything bad or good in their situation. But this global programming that has been in place since 2020, and before, it's speeding up. And the actions are speeding up of the nations on this planet, and their leadership that have the knowledge are speeding up at the same rate that the polls are speeding up. This is not a coincidence. This is no longer me trying to convince you to smash that like button, subscribe, come back tomorrow as I deal you some more disasters. But we're past that. We're past the excuses. We're past the, well, I just don't want to talk about it. Well, anyways. Well, what are we going to do? I don't know. I don't have all the answers, man. I know what I've been watching. I know what I'm seeing. I know how it's played out. And you watch one country do one thing, and then you just wait, and then it comes to another country, and it does the same thing. But here in this country, people are quiet. I'd say the event in 2001, you don't have any rights left. They just haven't told you yet. It's not the right time to tell you that. You have not had them. It's only affected, the lowlifes, the real scumbags, the ones that the last chucklehead in chief told you, shitheads, third world countries, shitholes, I apologize. That's the mindset that's been put into place, the programming that's been put into place. He is an actor. The chucklehead in charge right now is an actor. He was on the committee that signed the rules into place after that event in 2001 that are going to be put into place and activated. They're in place. I should take that. They are in place. They're just going to be activated. Remember back when the black vans were rolling up and people were getting taken away in vans out there in Oregon? And everybody was, yeah, get those scumbags. Roar, roar, roar. Now what are you going to protest? Those black vans are real. Those people getting taken are real.